What's up, people? What's going on? We're back. I think let me go here. Yo, what's going on, guys? We are back, ready to do the damn thing. I hope everyone's having a good week. I'm having a fantastic week. Just got just got the word that the gym that I work for is going to be opening June 19th. So you guys are watching this podcast. I'm filming this podcast on June 11th. You guys are watching it on June 18th of 2020, the strangest year we have ever lived through in the history of the world. That's actually a few things I want to talk about in this video. But yes, Maryland has decided to finally open up. And with that being said, since everything's opening up, gyms are going to be opening up. I said yoga studios are going to be opening up. Arcades are going to be opening up. So thank God for that. It's about damn time, you know. Coronavirus is like, I think it was getting to the point where people were like confused while we're still locked down, especially when there's like protests going on and thousands of people are gathering together to protest police brutality and George Floyd. So I think people were itching or biting at the bit to get back and get things open up again. I'm happy things are finally moving. I am still on vacation. You guys are watching this, but I'll be back. 24-hour fitness, local gym in our area in Annapolis is closing. That's the word on the street. So if you guys are listening to this podcast, you live in this area, here's a shameless plug. If you guys live in this area and you guys went to 24-hour fitness, or if you didn't go to a gym and you've had time to think about your life during this lockdown, come over to Foundation Fitness. We're right off of Bestgate Road in Annapolis. I work the front desk there. It's a great gym. It's got everything you need. It's got full cardio equipment, Stairmasters, treadmills, full staff of personal trainer. I'm a personal trainer there, so if you're interested in that, please contact me on that. But if you want to just sign up at the gym, come, give it a try, see if you like it. Good atmosphere, very family oriented. We have childcare. We have small group training classes, everything that a traditional gym has, just with cool people. I like everyone I work with, and I know you like the gym too. I was a member there for a long time before I actually started working there. But I don't want this to just be a commercial for the gym, but definitely come in, check it out. I probably won't be there this upcoming weekend, but I will be there during the whole week after the weekend of the 20th. So with that being said, let's get into the podcast. I just want to give a huge thank you once again. I feel like I'm doing this every episode, to everybody who's been showing the podcast support, subscribing to it on YouTube, subscribing to it on Apple Podcast, subscribing to it on all the platforms, leaving it reviews. I can't do this without you, and the support has been out of control. I mean, we're on pace to just do crazy numbers this month, and I can't do that without you guys and girls showing love every single episode. I don't think I really have anything else to, like, administrative stuff to get it out of the way before I start the podcast. One thing I did want to go over real quick. As you guys can see, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, and I'm sure if you guys are also watching this or listening to this on audio platforms, you could tell the difference of the voice. I'm so lazy. I haven't tested it yet. I've kind of just sat down and I'm hoping for the best. But I got this brand new microphone. This is the SM7B, Shure, SHURE, SM7B. It is the top of the line. I think as far as I know, it's the industry standard. That's what my friend told me. Microphone for podcasting. It's also a musical, like, people sing, they record songs with it too. But it's a dynamic microphone, I think. I don't know. I really don't know too much about equipment when it comes to podcasting. I just kind of get what I get and I go about it that way. But I'm very happy with the setup I have now. I don't want this to be like a motivational rant or anything. But this is episode 97 of the Michael Lab Show. I hate saying it like that because it's so like, doesn't sound so narcissistic. Like it's so, I don't know, like speaking in third person. But that's what, that's the name of the podcast. And, just to think when I first started my first episode ever, which is still on YouTube, you can go back and watch. And it's crazy to think that in 2 years, I'm going to be saying the same thing about episode 100, just to see the progress it's made from, having my first episode go up. And we didn't even know how to line up audio with video because I have two memory cards. I have the one that I use for my audio rectangle disc thing, like my square. I don't know. It's a stereo board. The Rodecaster, the Rode Rodecaster, and bought it, didn't know how to function it, figured it out. First episode went out with, it was just audio on my video camera. Then I eventually figured out how to merge audio and video into one so I could release the YouTube videos without having my words not be lined up with my mouth. It's just little steps like that along the way. Everything from getting a different chair to sit in, to having a different arm for the podcast mic, to getting different mics, to holding the mic with my hand, liking that, but then realizing that it messes up the audio. So I said, can't do that anymore. Just like little tiny steps along the way that as you're doing it, you don't even realize. How each and every single episode, you're subconsciously making it better. And it's more than just a podcast. It's with that with anything. It's with that with, for me, for reading, for example. I've never been, I think I've been a good reader. It's just I never applied myself. I was so, afraid to possibly the world of reading. I thought of it as a personality that I just didn't have. I think something that I struggle with a lot, which I think a lot of people can relate to, is that for me, if something is new for me, if something is intimidating, I have two completely polar opposite, two sides of the spectrum, the way I attack it. One is I just attack it blindly. I just kind of run into it. And that event comes up when I don't even realize what I'm doing. I just kind of stumble upon it. Like if I impulsively get up from the couch and I go running, and then 2 weeks later I've ran a 5K for 14 straight days. Then I think about what I just did. And then the other side of it is if I'm aware of something before I get into it, I tend just not to do it. I tend to just say, can't do it. It's not for me. I'm afraid of doing it. I'm afraid to actually be successful at it. I'm afraid to, more than that, I'm afraid to failing it because I don't want to fail anything because it makes me feel like I'm not worth something, whatever that something is. And that's kind of how reading was for me. And then once I got into it, it's a slow progression of confidence. I slowly started to realize, you know what? There's nothing wrong with reading. I like it. And, I'm not that bad at it. And I can learn so much from it. And it gives me a boost of confidence. It gives me a feeling of I can converse with anybody about anything. And if I don't know it, I could pick up a book and read about it. So I at least have a baseline knowledge about it. And that's kind of how podcasting is. I got into it with an idea of what I wanted to do. But that was about it. Didn't really see a trajectory. And I think for a lot of things, you should have a plan. I'm not saying I didn't have a plan, but I didn't have a step-by-step. Once I hit this, the next step is this. It was just kind of just going after it. And then things started flooding in. New microphones, new lighting, new setups, changing the setup a little bit, adding shelves, doing whatever to kind of take my personality and put it into the podcast. And I see the resemblance with everything you do. When you're young and you're 5 years old and your parents put you in a baseball for the first time, you don't think anything of it. You don't think about getting to the big leagues. You don't think about playing high school ball. You don't even think about playing in middle school. You just think about getting to the field every day and playing it. Why? Because you love it, you know? And there's something beautiful about that too. It's like, well, once you get to the point where you start seeing the potential in it, you start seeing the, like for podcasting, for example, once you start seeing that there is a future in podcasting, money is a huge thing that people don't want to talk about it, but that's a huge potential possibility for anybody who gets into anything. And there's a reason to make money. You know, you put your time into anything, you put effort into anything, you should definitely be rewarded. If you're providing entertainment, you should be rewarded for it. But there's also a there's something beautiful about how naive it is before you realize the future financially, monetarily in any event. And, you know, the beginning stage, you have to just keep on pushing, keep on putting a foot in front of the other foot. There was times, you know, between episode 10 to 50, I didn't have a schedule. 10 to 40, I didn't have a schedule. I didn't know when I was going to post. Between episodes 10 to 30, I was posting 3 to 4 podcasts a week because I just wanted to slam my foot into the gas. But then episode 40 came around. I was exhausted. I mean, I literally couldn't talk. My voice was going. I couldn't speak anymore. I was struggling in school. I was struggling in relationships because my mind was just so focused on the podcast. And then, you know, around episodes 70 and 80, I finally set up a schedule. And it's something that small that you don't even think about, like setting up a schedule. You don't think about the benefits of that. But then once you set the schedule and you start doing it for a while, well, the benefits are enormous. The benefits are when you do a podcast, you have a schedule what you're going to talk about. You're not just kind of rambling, you know, you're not just making shit up as you go. Even though for my podcast, that's kind of what I like. I like that feeling of a podcast because when I listen to podcasts, that's what I listen to. I don't listen to episodes or any shows where there's a set plan. I think that's only for TV and movies. Otherwise, when I listen to podcasts, I like the stuff where that you could just kind of feel like there's shit being thrown out the wall, and you say outrageous things, and you say things that maybe you shouldn't have said, and you say things that could get you in trouble, and you say things, but with all that, you also say things that connect with a lot of people because, you know, I think right now we're living in a time where there's so much craziness going on. The truth is the only thing that connect with people the most. You know, that's what people hold on to the most. And I think with podcasts, especially the way that my podcast is set up, and I think the podcast that I enjoy, you can just feel that there is just a free-flowing conversation. I mean, you can go to my reviews on Apple, and everybody says they enjoyed that the most about the podcast, how it's like I'm sitting right next to them and I'm talking to them. I'm ranting to them. And that's what I do. You know, that's how I talk at people in a weird way. I get so excited with so many ideas. Once I start speaking, it's really hard for me to, you know, shut it off. At the same time, you also got to live with the things that you say that you shouldn't have said. You know, that's just part of the game. But I've spent 15 minutes, the first 40% of this episode, just saying thank you so much to everyone who's been showing support. And that's why I'm sitting here with a brand new mic, with a brand new boomstick, with the, brand new audio quality, because I hope you guys can see how much I care about this. I mean, how much I seriously do. I care about doing this podcast more than anything. It's changed a lot of people's lives. I don't know about how much it's changed, but for me, I look at the world as just numbers. So if it's just changed your life 0.1%, if it's made you think about something that you've never been able to think about before, if you had an issue, if you had tension between you and your father, you and your family, you and your girlfriend, and you've listened to me say something and it's brought up a conversation and it's rekindled a relationship with somebody outside of your circle, that's a beautiful thing. And I think that's what podcasts are intended to do. I think that's the whole purpose of a podcast, is to make people come up, make people feel confident enough and feel connected to something that can make their life outside of the podcast better. So that's my rant. I just want to say thank you so much for everyone who has given me the most love I could ever imagine. One thing I did, I just kind of want to speak on something real quick in this podcast. There is something that I was listening to Andrew Schulz talk about this. He said something that was and Andrew Schulz is a comedian. He is, he's a controversial comedian, but all comedians are. It's so strange when people say comedians are, it's like when a comedian gets bashed for saying something that's outrageous, it's almost like, if that happens, there's nothing going on in the world. There's nothing else for the news cycles to even pick up, because that's what comedians do. And I think everybody is aware of that. And if you listen to comedy, it's almost like you cannot be offended, because you understand what these people are trying to do. They're trying to make jokes to make people laugh. There's something that I really do believe in this, and I could be absolutely wrong, but there's something about comedy and being offended where if you're listening to comedy and you catch yourself laughing at something, or if you catch yourself smirking at something, or if you catch yourself thinking in your mind, that was really clever. But you have to be honest with yourself. And I think a lot of people just aren't honest with themselves anymore these days, because they're afraid to be ostracized by the group that they're identifying with. And that's a fucking major issue. It's like nobody can actually stand in the middle. They're so afraid to stand in the middle of a battleground, because if you're not part of a group, what are you? And I love speaking upon this because that's a big issue. That's a fucking big issue. Your people are so scared to have an idea from this side and this side, and then maybe have their own idea boiling up inside of them. Because if you say something, it can kick you out of this group. And if it kicks you out of one group, you may not be accepting the other group. And then, Jesus Christ, you're an insecure person. You're scared. You've never actually been able to develop your own thought. And then you feel like shit about yourself. And then you just attack everybody. You're attacking everybody. But he said something that was really fascinating. So, by the way, if comedians are ever getting bashed, if they're getting dragged through the media, there's nothing else going on in the world. Because you could pick out anything. You could literally listen to specials on Netflix, and you could take a quote it, and then pop it out into the news channel. Like if Donald Trump was a comedian before, in a lot of ways he is a comedian, which he shouldn't be. He should be a president, but drugs do crazy things to you. So does narcissism. But like if he was a comedian before he became president, honestly, could have helped him a lot, but they would be taking quotes every single day. If he did like 3 specials every single day, because that's just what comedy is. You make jokes about people, you make jokes about everybody, and you do it in a clever way to make people laugh. And once you laugh, I think you give up your innocence. I think it's really hard to be upset about somebody if you're laughing at them. It's like being pissed off about, like saying Whole Foods is a piece of shit. I hate them. They're owned by Amazon. Fuck Whole Foods. But then you go out and you shop at Whole Foods. It's like saying Amazon's a piece of shit. Jeff Bezos is a fucking capitalist. I hate him. He's the worst person ever. He's changing this whole country. But at the same time, you're too lazy to get your ass up to go buy yourself 0-calorie syrup, so you order it online, like I did. It's just a lot of hypocrisy happening with comedians, especially if you're laughing at them. But he said something that really stuck with me, and it made me just think. I woke up this morning. I went running. I only ran like 2.5 miles. Oh yeah, I kind of stopped running for a little bit. My legs were shot. My shoes were. I had bad shoes, so I was waiting for my new shoes to come in. And I went running 2.5 miles a day. I wanted to run 5 miles, but I sprinted out of the gate. My first mile was like 7.5 minutes. That's fast for me. So I messed up there. So I got tired very quickly. And then I worked out. So I had a good morning. I was feeling good. And when I run and I get coffee, my mind just kind of, it's on like overdrive. It doesn't shut off, unfortunately. Um, shit. Oh yeah. So he said something that was really fascinating. He said, human development is not linear, and it's so fascinating. When you think about this, a lot of things that you hear right now in this world is that what you're seeing is a direct result of failure of a country addressing issues. And I would agree with that. A lot of things have been swept under the table. The school I go to, and this is public information, but the school I go to, I got a haircut, by the way. You see it? It looks really good. I got a skin fade. He always says, my barber's always like, you want a medium or you want a low fade? And I don't know. He says it like this. He's like, medium or low fade? Like he forgot what it was, but he knows that I'd like a fade. But I don't know what it is, so I say low. And then another time I probably say medium, so I don't actually remember. So I don't know what I get. But I think low fade just means the fade starts lower, not higher. Anyways, I like what I have. And my hair is finally growing up top again. But we represent... So there's an issue with time, especially when you're living in a specific time, which is a weird thing to say because you should only be aware of the time you're living in. And I think most people kind of live their life that way. They only are aware about what's in their bubble. I try not to do that. I try to look at things perspective-wise. It's the reason why I love mountain ranges and the ocean so much. The ocean and mountain ranges don't care about you. They've been going on for billions of years, and the ocean will kill you, and the mountains will kill you. And there's nothing you can do about it. You'll just die. And they've been doing it for billions of years. And there's something about time where if you get caught up in it, you start overly analyzing and overly emphasizing, analyzing and emphasizing everything going on around you. And then when you have phones and news cycles that are on 24/7, it's like a forest fire out in California. You start a spark, and then you light it up, and you just keep on feeding it more dead wood. And it gets to the point where it gets out of control, and you get stuck just looking at this fire, not realizing that this fire has happened millions of times, and it eventually will go out if you stop feeding it fuel. It eventually will fix itself. And I think this is a big thing going on right now. This that we're living through right now, from coronavirus to the Black Lives Matter protest, the riots. I don't want to tangle Black Lives Matter protests, which is a beautiful movement, and riots, which are a disgusting movement. The riots are hideous. They're just burning down buildings, and it's disgusting that that's happening. So Black Lives Matter protest is beautiful. It's separate from the riots, and I just want to make that point very clear. But you get caught up in what's happening right in front of you. We're all like horses in a race. You get so caught up with what's happening right in front of you, and it's not sorry, I think I just farted. Awkward. But it's not about you, but it's really hard to disconnect you from the present moment. And this what he said was so beautiful. Human development is not linear. There's never going to be a time where everything is just perfect, and people expect everything to just keep on going. They expect that in 5 years there's going to be no more racism. They expect in 5 years that the police are not going to be hurting people anymore. They expect in 5 years that war is not going to exist. They expect in 5 years that disease is not going to exist. They expect in 6 months that coronavirus is going to go away. It's not how it works. Time doesn't work that way. Development of humans does not work that way. The world has never functioned that way. It functions in success with a disaster. Success with a disaster. But if you look at it from a 10-year period, what you're going to see is these like a stock market in in one day. If you look at the stock market on one day, if you look at Tesla stock over the last 24 hours, it shot up from 970 to 1,000, back down to like 1,010, back down to like 970. You're going to see these pitfalls. And if you take your glasses and you're just looking at that 24-hour period, the 72-hour period, you're going to lose your gut. You're going to lose your mind. Respectfully, you're going to lose your mind. Understandably, you're going to lose your mind. It makes sense to lose your mind when you see a disaster. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, but what I am saying is that there is a perspective outside of that you can also take a step back and look at. You can look at human development from where we used to be to where we are now. We're not the same thing. I mean, we're Homo sapiens, but we're not the same thing. I mean, there was a point where the way that humans met is not with a handshake, but with taking over a village, setting it on fire, raping all the females, making it their land. And this part of the country, this part of the world where that kind of still happens. So when events like this take place, and I'm not just speaking about the protests, I'm speaking about everything, the turmoil between Democrats and Republicans, where it's not even one country anymore. It's two completely separate islands, like out in the middle of the ocean, that are like throwing like grenades at each other and blowing each other up. Well, what happens is you're going to sink the entire fucking ship. You're going to sink the entire ship. And that's what you're seeing right now, is you're seeing such a mass amount of evilness attacking other people, and it's sinking everything. But if you step back and you look at it from a different perspective, it's not linear. It's not expected to go straight back up. This is just a downfall, but it's going to play itself out, and it's going to be okay. The only way it doesn't become okay is if we, set off a nuclear bomb and we blow ourselves up. But right now, our enemies are not our enemies anymore. Our enemies are our neighbors. And that's a scary thing. And the people you hate the most are the people that live right next to you. I don't mean that, I mean that figuratively. Like your neighbors are the people that you don't trust the most. And that's a scary thing. Human development in the history of humankind has never been, it can't just keep on getting better and better. And there's going to be downfalls. And I think we got to accept that. And this is going to breed change. This is going to breed a new development. And we have to embrace that with open arms. And that's good. That's a good thing. But I'm just tired of hearing so much negative shit all the time. Like people want to get rid of police departments, and I'm not a scholar. I'm not a smart guy. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a lawyer, but I like to think I'm a realistic person, and humans are innately evil. They're evil. Once power is tasted, these are why these cops are doing these terrible things. One, because the one thing people don't want to talk about is there's so many cops who should not be police officers. And there's also so many cops who are suffering from severe mental illness. And then there's also a lot of cops who are racist and hate people and all colors, and they hate themselves. You're not going to find a racist that likes himself. They fucking hate themselves. And that's why they hate other people. It's just kind of how it works. Fuck, I had a good point. Shit, what was I going to say? Fuck, man, why does that happen? It happens to me all the time. Yeah, but people don't want to speak about the parts where shutting down the police department's a bad idea. It's not going to work. That's what I was saying. People are innately evil. Once a human tastes power, you see what happens. Look at Bill Clinton. Once he got into presidency, and before he got into presidency, he was involved in a lot of bullshit. But then, 20 years later, there's women coming out saying that he raped them, and Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby. Once men, especially men, Once they taste power, they start doing disgusting things. They start doing corrupt things. And a cop, once they get too much power, once they feel like they're invincible, they're going to do disgusting, evil things. Now, if you're going to remove the police officers, you're not removing the issue. Yeah, you're not removing the fucking issue. I mean, Chicago alone has 20 plus murders a weekend. Not cops on people, but people on people, citizens on citizens. There's a hatred and there's a real issue in this country, and I don't know how to fix it. But I do know that people are innately evil, and if they give too much power, they're going to grasp onto it. And there's a hierarchy that people always try to battle for. I mean, you see it at a job. You know, you see the new employee come in, and if they're really good, I mean, I've experienced it before. If they're a really good server and you're a really good server, you don't want them to be better than you, you know, because you've established this hierarchy in your brain. It's not psychopathic. It's not crazy. It's innate. It's human behavior. It's what people revolve themselves around. It's like a mosquito to a fire, you know. And it's dangerous. It's dangerous when power gets in the hands of the wrong person. I just had a conversation with Taylor, and it was, you know, it's really fascinating. She said, do you believe politicians become corrupt once they become a politician, or do you think they're already corrupt people? And frankly, what I believe is, yeah, they're corrupt people. I really do. I believe to be somebody who thinks that. I mean, if you look at what is a politician? A politician is somebody who believes that their ideas could change the world, whether it be at a local level or whether it be at a state level or a country level or a world level. They believe that what they do can change how the world functions. You can look at that from a lot of psychological perspectives, but I look at it as a narcissistic. You know, it's a little narcissistic to believe that. And then once you get voted, you win the vote contest, then you're now solidified. Everything that you believed is now true. Like, hey man, hey girl, you did win the popular vote. You're the man on campus now. What are you going to do with it? And then once you taste a little bit of power, once you hear the company come up to you and say, hey man, we're going to give you $2 million for you to pass this, you know, if you pass this bill right here, you see this bill right here, just, you know, read the first 5 pages. Don't read the last 5 pages. For the fuck the last 5 pages? Who reads the last 5 pages? But the first page is everything you want, you know? You can make weed illegal. You know, if you have a gun, you get 10 years in prison. And then if you go to prison, we make money off the prisoners in there because it's a privately held, you know, business. And you're going to be like, well, I don't make money off of privately owned businesses. But then the person's like, oh, no. The prison also is going to support you too. So they're going to give you a kickback. So then you can make more money that way. It becomes very corrupt very, very quickly. So I do think that as a politician, you have tendencies that could sway you one way to the other. And then just like anybody, once they taste a little bit of power, especially if they're an insecure person, I believe all politicians are insecure people. Once you're an insecure person and once someone looks at you like you're not what you think you are, like if I think I'm a piece of shit, if I think I'm an insecure person, if I think I'm worth nothing, if somebody tells me, no, Mike, you're cool, dude. You're an awesome person. I want to vote for you. I always talk about you at the parties when I go out with my friends. Then I'm sitting there like, oh shit, man, look at that. I never addressed my insecurities, but I've had my insecurities flushed out by somebody because they give me this sense of power, man. And then I get high off of that power and I want that power. Oh, I don't want to fucking stop that power. Give me that power. I'm gonna take it as far as I possibly can. And then boom, you end up as a congressman, a senator, a House of Representatives, and you look around and you want to make all this change, but you can't because the roots of the country are so deep into the ground, so deep into the earth, that if you turn one way and you turn too quickly, they're going to force you to turn the other way, and you can't go down that path anymore. They tell you all the secrets, and you're done, man. You're done. And then you become corrupt because you get up top, and if you want to do something, let's say you want to pass a medical bill, but then Big Pharma is like, hey, yo. If you pass that bill, man, we're not giving you that $10 million kickback, and I don't know where you're going to get the money to run again next year because you only make 400, $100,000 a year. We're the big company here. How you gonna do that? Ah, fuck. Well, I guess I'll let this one slide. I'll pass this bill. I'll hook you up, Big Pharma, and then boom, a year later, we're gonna try to make electric cars cheaper to purchase than gas cars. Whoa, 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 whoa. Exxon's like, whoa, 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 Mr. Obama, President Trump, President Bush, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why would you do that, man? We're one of the biggest oil companies in the whole world, and you want to just kind of throw us off to the side? What? Don't. That's a bad idea, Mr. President Trump, Mr. President Obama, Mr. President Bush. That's a bad idea. We'll take our money right away. And what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Fuck, you're right. Fuck, we're not going to pass that bill then. Okay, thank you so much. We'll give you the money now. They hook you up. It's like they have you in their chains. And that's what happens with everything, is that there's always somebody who controls something. And what you're seeing right now is, I think, finally, you're seeing a point in this country's history where that's starting to get torn down a little bit and everything's starting to get exposed. And I think, that's a good thing. It's a good thing to expose things. I wish it could happen a little bit more peacefully. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. But I'm an optimist. I'm a pessimist, I think, at heart. Or I think I come off as a pessimist, but at heart, I'm an optimist. And I believe everything's going to be okay. The one thing we do got to worry about is that in the Northeast, there's a fucking mosquito. There's a new disease carried by mosquitoes. People don't realize, but the Northeast, dude, there's so much marsh up here. There's so much water. Maine, Massachusetts, New York, all the way down to like southern or northern Virginia, New Jersey, Delaware, Rhode Island. There's a lot of marsh, and it breeds like a muggy weather, but not like super hot where it can kill diseases, but like low 80s, maybe sometimes mid 80s, very rarely low 90s, but still muggy, that it breeds these ticks. These ticks just love it here. And the mosquitoes just love it here, and it's a feeding ground for them. People don't realize that, like, how many people have how many people have had deer ticks on them and get Lyme disease. But there's a new disease now that the death rate's like 40%, and it's like really rare to get. But just when you think about mosquitoes, they're the deadliest thing of all time. There's like a stat, I don't know how true it is, so don't hold me to it, but that mosquitoes have killed more people in the history of humankind. They've killed more people than currently live in the world right now. Like, they make up for half of the deaths ever in human history. These fucking disgusting little parasites just fly around, literally suck the blood out of your face. They suck the blood out of your face and they just kill you. These parasites just kill us, man. But yeah, there's just so much going on. Ebola outbreak out in Africa. Coronavirus is still, this corona thing is still happening. I think protests will finally slow down. Change is finally coming around for everybody, the African American community, just the whole community in general, it's humankind in general. But we still got to worry about North Korea and Russia. Russia's been way too quiet lately. I don't know what's going on with Russia. North Korea hasn't said anything. Kim Jong-un almost died, apparently, but he didn't die. Like, who the fuck knows what's happening? Who the hell knows? They still got nukes, man. They still got nukes. We still got nukes to talk about, man. It's going to be fascinating. And then we're going to get rid of the police departments. Who the fuck knows what's going to happen? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just a dumb 23-year-old kid, 6-year college student, talking shit on a mic. So that's what I am. God, I hope people don't listen to me. I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. We'll see. I mean, I'm not too worried about it. But I am happy that I'm on vacation. Get my mind off of things. I've been reading the book War and Peace. It's about the Napoleon Bonaparte. his time as king of France. And it's called War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. Beautiful book. I understand why they say it's one of the greatest books of all time. I've read so much. I think it is nonfiction, but I read, as you can tell, I read a lot of like academic books, I guess you could say, like physics books, biology books, philosophy books, even Maps of Meaning was kind of a religious book. That it's been nice to read a book that's, nonfiction based. It's off the history of Russia and Europe, but it's also a story, and it's a story written by one of the greatest authors of all time. Besides Fyodor Solzhenitsyn, I think his name was Fyodor Solzhenitsyn. Solzhenitsyn. I think it's no, not Fyodor. His last name's Solzhenitsyn. Besides him, he could be the greatest Russian author of all time, but they say Leo Tolstoy has kept my mind off of things. All I'm doing is reading it on vacation, and I love it. It's a beautiful book written by a beautiful man. But you guys are beautiful people, and I'm happy to bring you guys this podcast with this brand new mic. Hopefully the audio comes out okay. I'm going to get another one, and I'm going to get another arm stand so I can have people on the podcast and we can sit down and have real conversations, because this arm thing is awesome. I'm going to get a new table. I'm going to get an all black table because I really don't think this is a good table. It's a piece of shit table, but baby steps, right? Little things at a time. It's all about the baby steps. Human development is not linear. So nothing's linear. There's always dips and things. If you look at it from a microscopic perspective, you're always going to be in fear. But if you can bring yourself back, look at it from like a longer perspective, it's your anxiety is going to go down significantly, because you're going to understand this is how things work. Things work up, down, up, down, up, down. Speaking upon that, the stock market it's doing the best it's ever done, at least the time of recording this, which is June 11th. It's kicking ass. It's kicking ass. People don't understand that when the stock market drops, the rich take advantage of that. They start buying up stocks like crazy. So once the stock market goes up, the rich just keep getting richer. That's an issue, right? I don't know. But that's it, guys. Episode 97 of the Michael Lab Show. Thank you guys so much. Be safe out there. School should be starting up soon. I know I'm going back to campus, which is awesome. I think it's like a hybrid setup. I'm not too sure about that, but I don't really care right now. Excited to get back to work. I'll catch you guys on Tuesday. I don't know what that is. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 23rd of June. Jesus Christ. Only 2 more months when I'm back in school. Thank you guys so much. I love you. Keep supporting it. Like, comment, subscribe. Leave it a rating on Apple. I'll catch you guys on episode 98 of the Michael Lab Show. 2 more to 100. Peace out. See ya.